Hello YouTube, I am back with another gear review. It's been a little while since I've done something like this. Been very busy lately, but today I want to talk about these new Rokinon SP lenses. SP stands for Special Performance, or if you're using the Samyang version, it's the XP for Expert Performance. Basically, what these are Rokinon's kind of answer to the Sigma Arts. That's my take on it. Nobody's like officially said that or anything, but Rokinon's known as the cheaper lenses, pretty good quality for the price, but I think they're trying to up their quality now. This is the 14mm. Right now you're looking at me in the 85mm, and they just came out with a 50mm, but those are the only three that they have so far. So I don't think a lot of people are using them yet because there's not a full set available. They started with the 14, I think, then added the 85, and now they're adding the 50. So it's safe to assume that there will be a 24 and a 35 probably by the end of the year, at which point it starts to become a usable kit. But these lenses, I think MSRP kind of started at around 900 to 1,000 a piece, so it's definitely a step up in cost compared to the normal Rokinons, which are in the more like the $300, $400 range. But the good news is you can get them on sale. Both of these I've had the 14 for about a month or two, and I just got the 85 in today actually, so this is kind of the first thing I've shot with it. But I got both of those like $300 off on sale on B&H. So at the sale price point, it's only a couple $100 more than the previous generation Rokinons, depending on the type of Rokinon lens you're looking at. But the reason for that cost is these are better lenses. When you pick them up, you can feel it. They're heavier, heavier and heftier too, I guess. They feel more solid. They feel like they probably have more glass in them. I don't know what the technical reasoning behind that is, but it used to be you pick up a Sigma Art, you pick up a Rokinon. The Rokinon felt lightweight and cheap and flimsy. The Sigma Art felt like a serious lens. Now these Rokinon SPs feel like Sigma Art's kind of this pretty hefty, well-built lens. So there's no manual aperture. These are electronic aperture, but manual focus, no autofocus here. It's kind of an odd setup there. I don't know why they wouldn't just start possibly with like a Cine DS style with the gear rings and just make it full manual. My guess is that these lenses are kind of, they're gonna define the whole next several years of Rokinon's sort of platform. So if any of the non-SP Rokinon lenses you buy, whether they're Cine DS, whether they're the electronic versions, they have some with autofocus, some without. For the most part, I think all of those are just about the same glass with different configurations for housing. Even going up to the Zines is pretty close in terms of image quality. All of these are just sort of different configurations of the same lenses across their line. These SPs, I think, are the first time they've really upped the image quality with new lens design, new glass design, and all that. So I would assume that these SP lenses will eventually be released as Cine DS2 lenses, maybe in another year or two, as well as probably eventually the next line of Zines that were probably going to be based off similar glass elements. That's just a guess on my part. That hasn't been officially stated. But I think you might look at these SPs as sort of the first generation, the first iteration of the next generation of Rokinon lenses. So they're up in their quality and trying to compete on that level. They don't want to be the cheap lens people anymore. So other thoughts, just as far as build quality goes, this is the 14 in my hand. It's got the fixed lens hood. It's definitely kind of a sexier look. They kind of have a Zeiss Otis vibe to them, with the curved plastic. It is still plastic on the outside, but it's got a nice finish. Now the focus wheel is interesting. It does have a very long focus throw. I'll try to get some shots of just how much. Definitely longer than a Sigma Art, which is what I'm used to right now. That's kind of what most of my kit is right now. So in that sense, these do feel like they're designed for video, and that, you know, you get a nice long throw. Now this wide angle F2.4 lens, it's faster than the other Rokinon 14mm out there, and you know, not a whole lot, but a decent amount to where you can actually get a little bit of shallow depth of field with subjects in your foreground now, even with a 14mm lens. I like having a 14 in my kit. For a while, I didn't have a 14 after I transitioned out of the Cine DS lenses. The next closest I had was the Sigma Art 20mm, which is a great lens, but I just sold it on eBay because I prefer, if I'm going to go wide, I want to go really wide, and this 14 is great for that. It also just looks good. It's sharp, not a lot of distortion. It's hard, you know, I don't have a old 14mm and new to do side by side. It does feel like a nicer quality image, just purely subjectively. Somebody that shot for about 2 years with the Cine DS line, and then switched to Sigma Arts, and now I'm kind of trying out these new Rokinons to see how they hold up. Now Sigma does have a 14mm art lens as well. I believe it's f1.8 14mm, which is pretty crazy. It's like the fastest 14mm that's ever been made. I'd considered getting it for a long time, but I think it's almost like $1,800 or something. So I hadn't yet justified that purchase. I decided instead I could get this 14mm f2.4 Rokinon for about $700, you know, so save quite a bit of money there. And then now I'm trying out the 85mm. Now the 85 is pretty special. It is an f1.2 lens. Now that's pretty damn fast. There aren't many f1.2 lenses. Canon has a few L series f1.2s. I think they have a 50 and an 85. And the new Rokinon Sp 50mm is also f1.2. So in addition to trying to bump up their image quality, they're also trying to make all their lenses a little faster, it seems, which is nice. I kind of miss the faster lenses now. I've been in enough scenarios. I am shooting on the red Helium sensor now, which can do pretty good in low light when you bump up the ISO to kind of compensate. But that shallow depth of field you get with the lower f-stops is really nice. So right now I am shooting at f1.2 with this lens. I had to put my camera all the way across my room, and this is about as wide as I could get with the 85 in my office. I'll get some different kind of shots later, but this should be a great lens for shallow depth of field portraits, you know, getting a nice bokeh, and I'll do some test footage of that. But for now, just sort of a plain Jane interview shot. At least you can see this video is shot with the 85mm right now. And then the unboxing footage I got of me opening up the 85 was shot with this 14mm, so you can kind of get a feel of those two. Now this 14 is pretty standard sized. You know, it's got kind of a narrower neck and then the wide end to it. The 85 is quite a large lens. It's about as big. I haven't seen the Sigma Cine lenses in person yet, but just based on pictures I've seen, I feel like it's close to that size of a lens, which is another indicator to me that these are going to be the next. I think the next Cine DS lenses are going to be, you know, between the sizes of the current Cine DSs and the Zines. Where you get these more compact kind of Cine primes. I could easily see this 85mm becoming one of those. You throw a couple gears on there, and it's a pretty big, hefty, kind of premium Cine lens. The only problem is right now it's not a declicked aperture, it's not manual aperture, and it doesn't have the geared focus ring. I will talk about the focus rings while I got the 14 right here. It's rubberized. It's pretty wide. It's about 1 inch wide. It's got this kind of bump to it. It's kind of pokes out in the middle of it. It's not squishy, but it almost feels like it's squishy just because the way the rubber moves up, it kind of arcs a bit. It does give a nice confident grip without giving you any grooves like a normal rubberized grip would. But I wonder what the philosophy there is, if that's supposed to work well with like friction follow focuses or not. I don't really use a follow focus, so for me it's fine to just have that finger grip. I do appreciate now, having been with the Sigma Arts for a while, coming back to a lens with a longer focus throw is pretty nice for doing those rack focuses. And there's a pretty nice friction to it, so you're not going to accidentally it's pretty confident turn. I know it's really hard to kind of capture that on camera. You'll see in my unboxing video, I pull out this Tiffin 86mm polarizer, circular polarizer. It comes in a pouch. I don't know if you normally buy your little UV filters, whatever, protect your lenses. I went ahead and got a circular polarizer for this one because I like to have something on the front glass, and I do a lot of outside stuff, so I use the circular polarizers a lot. But this is the biggest I currently have in my kit is an 82mm. This is an 86mm. This is a giant polarizer. And it's actually pretty thick too. It's a pretty heavy duty polarizer there. I'm not used to that. When I pulled it out of the box, I was a little surprised by it. But that just goes to show this is a big lens. It's got an 86mm front element on the 85. Yeah, just keep in mind this is a big, hefty lens. This is a serious lens, and definitely feels like the template for a future Cine lens. You know, if you're in the market for Sigma Arts, but you prefer a longer focus throw, I feel like that's where these lenses are gonna fit. Again, I don't have a ton of experience with them yet. I only have 2 of the 3 that are on the market so far. I have a feeling by the end of the year, you'll start seeing more about these lenses, and more people might have a kit of them. Right now, since it's a incomplete kit, there's just not a lot of people using them yet. But I have a good feeling about them. So far, they look really great. Especially, you know, you're not going to find an F1.2 lens cheaper than this 85 or the 50mm. The 50 just came out, so it's still at about $1,000. But I'd give it a few months, and I bet it'll drop by $200 or $300. That's kind of what I'm hoping for, and then I'll get the 50. But anyway, this is just kind of a short little review. I think these are interesting lenses. I think keep an eye out for them. They definitely seem to be good quality. If you like Rokinons, or you want something slightly better than the current Rokinon offering, I would definitely look into these SPs. They seem like it's Rokinon making an effort to step up their game and compete even more with Sigma. So if you follow my channel, you probably think I'm a little bit of an unreliable lens person. I switch my kit up a lot. Part of that's because I just don't think the lens really makes or breaks a product. I talked about this in one of my more recent videos that you know, I do think that the camera is more important than the lens. A lot of people argue the other way around. But when push comes to shove, you know, the lenses give you that slightly subjective quality on top of what the camera can do. But the cameras, you know, the resolution, you know, in the case of the red, the raw data, the high speed frame rates, you know, the capabilities of the sensor and the dynamic range, all of that to me is way more important than the lenses. So that's kind of why, that's why I don't really have any kind of loyalty to any one lens. And I like to try lots of different lenses. Fortunately, since lenses hold their value really well, it's really easy to sell a lens and buy another one. That's basically what I did to buy this 85, was I sold my Sigma Art 20mm. It was almost the same price used to sell that as it was for the brand new 85 on sale. So I just like to switch it up a lot, find what I like. I'm kind of excited. There's something about the large size of the 85 that's kind of fun, where it's like you look like you're in business with this big lens on the front of your camera. Again, it's close to what I think the Sigma Cine lenses are. The kind of the common look now in the front of a Red camera is one of these new kind of smaller Cine lenses, and I feel fairly confident. If I was if I was a gambling man, I would put money on Rokinon outfitting these with gears later on down the road. This video is shot in 8K on the Rokinon lenses, so check it out for yourself. And if this is helpful, or if you have more questions about these lenses, leave a comment, subscribe. I try to stay engaged with the gear videos the best I can. And yeah, thanks for watching.